So no, the audio, there's not going to be any audio on this part. So you can make whatever fucking noise you want.
It's so good! It's better because of your beer.
Let's do 2.5 minutes per wine. All right, so we're done. We've done the 4 wines, and now we're gonna unveil what each one was and how each of us felt about it, respectively. So let's see. I got my list. So I poured for him. He poured for me. This is completely blind, and we try to take out any type of influence there could possibly be, including not talking during our tasting. So your number 1 was Casillero Diablo.
That's the Chilean, right?
That's the Chilean.
Yes! I got it! What was my number 2?
Number 2 was the 2 Hands, the Australia. Which I guess we should put these forward. Alright, so number 1 for him was this one. And I'm sure you guys recognize this because it's a huge fucking brand. Number 2 for him was this one. The 2 Hands 2017 Sexy Beast. It's a great name.
It's fully appropriate.
Number 3 was Silver Oak. So this is the big daddy of the group. This is the big daddy. This is way more expensive than any of the other wines. And then number 4 was the CS. So respectively, we had a Chilean Cabernet, we had a Napa Cabernet, we had an Australian Cabernet, and we had a Washington Cabernet. All right, so what was your breakdown?
All right, so The only one that I got right, by the way, is the Chilean. So where was that? This guy here. What set it off to me was that it had vegetal notes and a little bit of bell pepper in the nose as well as in the palate. That is something that I have experienced many other times with Cabernet from that region, but really from nowhere else. So that was the hallmark, and that's why it stood out to me. I really loved the entry. I couldn't stand the mid palate. It had a pretty decent finish. But right at the very beginning is where I thought it was the best. So I scored that as a 7 out of 10.
All right. And what's number 2?
All right, number 2 was the Australian. So that's this guy here, I believe. This is the one that I thought was Silver Oak. Guess what? Silver Oak scored the lowest for me.
Okay.
It did actually.
Okay, so
it did actually score the lowest.
Australia was your highest.
Yep.
Silver Oak was your lowest.
It was my next one. Yep.
And then what about the other 2?
And then Washington and Chile were in the middle.
The same.
Yeah, same.
Wow.
Yeah, but Silver Oak is actually my least favorite out of all the ones that we tried.
Just so you guys understand the pricing difference.
Yeah, this is really ridiculous.
The Chilean Cabernet was like $9, right? Something like that. Silver Oak is in the 100 area, early 100s.
130 retail.
130 retail. The 2 hands, the Australian was
26.
26, and the CS was like
17.
Yeah.
It was under 20.
It was under 20. Yeah. So that's funny.
So the fact that the $130 bottle, everything else that we have up here is less than $30. Some are less than $20. Literally my least favorite out of all of these, tasting them all together, is the $130 bottle.
So, I mean, we have a slight difference. So, for one, Blake is just balls deep into wine, and wine is what he does all the time. Me, I have like pulled back from wine. I don't do a lot of wine, so we have very different approaches to it and investments in it, if you want to put it that way. So, my number 1 was Chile 2, and I gave it around the same score as him. Slightly lower, 6 out of 10. Earthy and spicy. I was like, man, this is definitely not American. That's one thing I wrote down. I was like, there's no way this is American Cabernet.
Because American immediately tastes pretty good right off the bat.
Yeah.
And these other wines from other countries, they're a little bit more complex on the front, and they have these other notes that you just don't see in American wine. So it's usually very easy to pick up.
You have to like discover. You have to like kind of go deeper into it. Whereas America tells you, like,
America's in your face, are we not?
America, yeah. Yeah. And actually, it's the same with beers. Now that I'm thinking about it, an American craft beer versus like a German Doppelbock. I mean, they're so different. We're so loud and big.
The same thing applies to our food. It's really food point. And beverage just across the board. I mean, we're bold and typically in your face. Other countries tend to be more subdued.
So the next one for me was Silver Oak, and this is where we differed here. This was my favorite of the bunch, but I gave it a 7.9 out of 10. So
okay. It was your favorite.
It was my favorite of the bunch. None of them. I wouldn't kick any of them out of bed for eating crackers because I really think nothing here was garbage.
No,
nothing here was particularly which is good.
That's really impressive too, considering the price spectrum. So
yeah. So the Silver Oak to me and this is what I look for in wine or what my personal taste preference is if I'm looking for, American wine is a lot of oak and vanilla and just like custard and softness. So I got that from this, but in my notes though, I put it was really agreeable, which that's not the best praise, and that's how I felt about it though. It's like it was pretty good.
So you're on your Silver Oak notes. Let's compare. Do you mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So for me, I would totally agree with everything you just said. That's why personally, I kind of found it boring.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're saying there. I
found it boring. Yeah. So here's what I put right off the top. Tons of oak. It's saturated with vanilla. Fruit is masked.
Agreed.
Like I can't determine the character of the wine. All these other wines, you get a lot from it, from the nose and from the first sip. And this wine, the Silver Oak, you have to taste it before you even know what you're dealing with, because it's so American oak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to give you guys a bit of a comparison, so that was his notes on it, and mine verbatim, nose plenty of oak.
We're in agreement.
but as you can see though, I'm a big oak fan. Like I like big oak Chardonnays, not oak monsters, but like well oaked Chardonnays. I tend to appreciate that characteristic.
And what else do you like to drink besides wine that has a lot of oak on it? Often.
You're talking about beer?
Other things besides
rum, bourbon.
Just about everything else.
Yeah, I'm a very oak friendly.
That's your style. You enjoy that style.
Man.
Yeah.
Vanilla, custard, beautifully soft, tastes like California, really agreeable. And these are verbatim notes for me.
And I think that's right.
Yeah. So, but then you see like just what I seek and what he seeks. So there's still biases, I guess, involved in this. Even when it's blind, your palate is looking for certain things that triggers in your brain, like, oh, this is what I like. Like, I like this. This is a good example of it. So 3, let's see. I give 3 a 6.5.
3, I also gave a 6.5.
Which one is that?
3? That was Silver Oak.
No. What was it for me, though? It was,
Oh, number 3 for you, I'm sorry.
It was, I thought I wrote it down.
Washington, CS.
Oh, CS. Yeah, so 6.5. So this was, I guess, second place, but I scored, I gave a 6, 6.5, 6, and a 7.9. Right, so all of mine, to me, the other 3 were kind of in the same realm in terms of what I enjoyed, like the impression it left on me. But I guess for 3, let's see, I gave it a kind of a weak nose. There's a bit of fruit, a bit of must, wet wood. I got a good bit of wood on this. I got good grip from it, which is interesting because I didn't expect Washington to give me what apparently is the most tannin of the group, at least for me, the most tannic of the group. It had good structure to it, pleasant finish. Yeah. How was yours? Around 7?
So for the Washington, I had a 7. I had a lot of black fruit with some red. The oak was there, but it was really well integrated to me. It didn't
it was
overwhelm
restrained.
anything.
It was restrained.
It enhanced without overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to do, especially for an American wine. And at that price point. Medium plus acid, it was quite dry and quite tannic.
Yeah. I had the most tannin from this one of all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you.
Even though the Chilean was, it wasn't tannin though, but it had spicy
gritty.
And earthy. Yeah, grit. Yeah, like
It's
like
great.
dirt.
It
Like
felt,
you felt the
like
dirt.
a raw wine, and that is exactly what wines from that region tend to be like.
Yeah. That was a good one. For the
I
price,
really enjoy that.
For the price, man,
Yeah.
that's hard to beat, man. Under $10.
You have to have it, especially with the right food, to make it just pop.
Yeah.
On its own, it's a
with the
little
right food.
abrasive, but just with some food, oh my god.
Rustic is definitely the.
Oh, 100%.
That's just what a great adjective
100%.
for this style of wine. It's
Yeah.
just rustic.
Very cool.
And then on the 4th, to me this was just very medium. So the Australia to me was good, but it was very like medium, and I was unsure. This made me doubt if number 2 was Silver Oak. Number 2, I called out Silver Oak. I actually wrote that in. But when I had 4, I was like, because there was some oak quality to it also that led me to believe it could be Silver Oak. But the Silver Oak to me just did to me like a better job of harnessing the oak than this did.
All right, so look, I thought it was either the Australian or the Napa. I thought it was
one or the
two.
other.
So those are the 2 that I also felt were.
Yeah, these are
your top
so
candidates
apparently
for that. So.
Australia is doing things pretty American, at least for this guy.
And that's what we were talking about earlier when we were heading out to kind of plan all this, and we're discussing the different regions and such, and we were talking about California in general, Napa in particular, versus say Australia. And yes, Australia does tend a little more towards the heavily oaked, a little bit more American oak, and bigger, bolder wines. So yeah,
Makes
it's
sense.
harder to tell which one it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I had oak, I had dark fruit. I literally put down on this one, it smells fancy. Like the nose to me smelled luxurious, and I think because of marketing and such and knowing the value of different wines, I just like, that's probably so.
Is it Napa?
But it's not. Color had a really deep core, really beautiful, lighter edges. You had some very muted orange and a little kiss of brown in it. Not a very old wine, but it was still pulling those colors. Medium plus in body, medium acid. Dry, but not as dry as several of the others that we have.
Yeah. I'll
Really
tell you,
great
man,
wine.
if
Really,
I were...
I really enjoy that. That would be the wine that I would choose out of these four.
Yes, that's what I was about to say, man, is that if you look at the price of all of these and you like really took it at a value-based proposition, then this or this would be for me. But the price point of this versus what it actually delivers, it's just not justifiable. You know, the value proposition is just not good enough. Really what you're buying, now that we've tasted this blind, is you're absolutely buying the brand 100%. You are buying the brand. You are not buying the juice. You're buying the brand. Which is good. I'm glad that we did that and fucking found that out.
And we keep finding that out over and over
Yeah.
and over and over again.
Not just in wine and any
across the
alcohol.
board.
All of the alcohols.
Just across the board.
We are like, the more you blind taste, the more you realize you are buying the brand. You are buying the brand. Until you blind taste it and understand what something really is, you're buying the brand.
Like, this is literally what we do for a living. This is what we saturate our lives with this. And we are constantly being surprised by the things that we find to be quality versus the price.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Blake.